Alright, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got an F82 M4, just the base model in Portimao Blue over a Kilami Orange. So basically, you've seen Joe Achilles' car. Obviously it's an M3 competition, but it's the same general spec, but this one is really lightly optioned. This is maybe the poor man's Joe Achilles spec, if you will. So, as you know, S58 powers the M3 and M4 base models, but with reduced power. So it's 473 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque, so same torque or torques figure as the previous gen M3, M4. The 6-speed manual transmission. So the base models come standard with 18-inch wheels. So 19s in the front, 19s in the rear. If you upgrade your wheel package to either A25 or A26Ms, with 19s in the front and 20s in the rear, you're going to pay a little extra. It's about $1,300 or so for this option. So these are the 825M wheels in Orbit Gray. Sort of also a bi-color, I guess, if you will. There's Orbit Gray and there's a little bit of a silver chrome, whatever you want to call it. We got the blue calipers here on this particular spec. You can also get red and black. I'm taking this view. So we are high, I don't say high, but high above Palo Alto in the Foothills Park, which was once exclusive domain of Palo Alto residents only. They didn't even allow residents from other cities into this park until a few years ago. But out back, we've got our familiar 100mm tips. We do have the Shadowline package, which explains the black exhaust tips as well as the black accents around the car, including the gurney flap above, as well as the mirror caps. Badging for the M4 is in that familiar chrome silver. But Portimao Blue, I think, is really good color on the M3 and the M4. We'll take a look at the inside in a moment. But if you're a keen observer, this is a 21, mind you. So the headlights give away that there's no executive package on this. You see the standard LEDs that you would get on the standard 3 or 4 series. Same lights. The base model M4 does not come with the driver assistance package. You can get the parking assistant package. I believe that one's $800, but we'll know more in just a second. Get you the cameras, of course. I think it's probably a must-have on this car. All right, let's take a look on the interior. So, as I mentioned, you get the Kilami Orange, the Joe Achilles spec, with the standard M Sport seats, which, I mean, look, these seats are okay. I'd prefer the carbon buckets, but to each their own. But the orange works really well with the blue. So there's details on the seats. Interior wise, you should note we got the carbon fiber package. So I was going to tell, you know, shift paddles are included, of course, not with the manual transmission. So you lose a little bit in terms of value for the money here. So you don't get those shift paddles because obviously, one, you don't need them. All right, so let's take a look at the spec sheet here. So the base M4 starts at just under $72,000. The paint adds $550. The parking assistance package, which is also the drive recorder. You need that. Cameras all around the car in order to have drive recorder. $800. We got the M Drive Professional 10-stage traction control for $900. Also gets you the M Track mode as well. We've got the wheels, which add $1,300. Carbon fiber trim, $950. So you don't get a break just because you get a manual transmission. And that's it in terms of options. So total MSRP for this particular example, just a little under $77,300. And of course, available. So note on the manual transmission. For our store, we are not going to order any more base M3, M4s unless they are a customer order. It's just because these ones, for some reason, don't sell very quickly, and we still have a base M4 from a couple months ago that's been sitting with no traction in terms of getting out of the showroom. So even though it's an available option now, we are not going to spec it anymore like this. Because now those allocations, I don't know if you guys have heard, at least for the US market, they're basically fungible. So you can switch between the base, the comp, now of course the all-wheel drive comp. So most of our specs will always be comps, be they regular rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So in terms of options, we, again, admittedly, this is low. It is lightly optioned. So you don't get that heads-up display. But I think the instrument panel is actually pretty good, especially in either the sport mode or the track mode. The instrument panel is really well designed here. You can definitely check your tachometer on either side here. It's nice and visible. It's in your line of sight, really. And it's great. Heads-up display would be a nice addition to that, but that's the exact package. Adds, at least for the 21 model year, I think it was, for the base models, it's like $2,500 or so. Somewhere around that range. Which also included the laser lights. But that's about it. We'll take one more view around the M4. Take in the view of the San Francisco Bay, as well behind me, and Palo Alto, just behind the M4. But, I mean, Portimao Blue, really good color. So normally, allocation-wise, we usually got maybe one M3, one M4 base model each allocation month. And now we're changing all those to, as I mentioned, comps. Just because these don't sell particularly fast. All the other cars that we've taken in generally don't last very long if they are store orders. So this might be one of those chances to come in and pick up a manual transmission M4 that is unspoken for at the time of this filming. And I really like these 825M wheels, especially in Orbit Gray. But that's about it for a quick tour of the M4 in the Joe Achilles spec. If you want to say poverty spec, but that's the idea. So we'll see you at the next video.